This is a 1976 FJ40 wiring harness bench test, both the front cowl as well as the rear. The OEM part number is 82420-90318B. The first thing I like to do is I like to make sure that I've connected the fusible link to the battery, and then I activate the hazard switch to test that circuit. As you can hear and see, the lights are working both the front as well as the rear. The next thing I like to test is the key on position. You'll see several lights illuminating. I'll point them out to you in a second. The first light will be a quick flash, followed by the seatbelt alarm that you'll hear, and then another flash, which is the starter receiving the electricity on that circuit. Next, you'll see a couple of lights begin flashing. That is your fuel sender as well as your temperature sender, both operating on 7 volts in a pulsating fashion. As you're seeing, those are controlled by the instrument cluster. Next, I'll point out a steady illuminated light, which is the fuel solenoid for your carb. That is operating on a steady volt. And then in the far corner, you'll see the oil pressure sender, a dim light, which is receiving constant electricity for that particular sender. The next thing I'm going to do is point out the turn signal assembly. We're throwing the switch to take a right and then to the left. Both lights are working as they should, both front as well as the rear. And I'll also point out on the instrument cluster that the turn signal light is operating as it should. Next thing I like to do is test out the headlight switch. So I'm going to do the first pull, which is going to show you the running lights, both the front as well as the rear, and then you'll notice the side marker lights, which I have test bulbs set in there, which are actually the bulbs for the license plate assembly, but they operate on the same circuit, so those are working as they should. The next thing I'm going to show you is the headlight socket switch bulb. That is for the illuminated knob. That is an LED light, which I recommend. That's working as it should. Now I'm going to pull to the pull-on position, and you'll see that the headlights are working. I do not have both bulbs for high beam and low beam, but they do work as they should. Shut that off, and I'm now going to show you the brake light working. So I have it in a clamp, and I'm going to connect that now, and you'll see that the brake lights are working as they should. Next, I'm going to test out the heater. So you'll notice 2 lights. The first light is a bright white light. That is the front heater. And then I pull it again for the rear heater, and that is a green light. While I'm here, I'm going to also test out the horn circuit, which I'm going to ground out the horn circuit, which you'll hear a click, and then you'll see a bulb over here illuminate. Showing that the horn circuit works. Next, I'm going to test the inspection light socket. Plug that in, and your test light or your inspection light works. Finally, I'm going to show you the reverse light, which I have in a C-clamp for testing purposes, but we will activate that right now. So you're putting the truck into reverse, and the light comes on as it should. The only thing I didn't show you is the lights for the dash and the heater light. Both of those work. So this is a complete bench test of an FJ40 1976 wiring harness.